Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Breakthrough Blueprint, where we talk to entrepreneurs about their journey, their successes, their struggles, and how they've overcome all of that. And today I have my very, very good friend, Mila, and I will hand it over to her to introduce herself.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Myla, actually known as an artist called Myla Donna. I'm from Colombia, and I have a lot to say about me. But the most important thing I'm going to say is I am a very eclectic person, and I've dabbled in a lot of different industries, and I feel like I can really talk about anything with anyone. So I'm very excited to be here today, and hopefully we're going to get some really good insights for everyone. I hope that my journey really helps a little people out there. So let's do it.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here today. And so, can you just tell us a bit about your background, like how you got started in music?
Okay, so I feel like that's a very funny question because there's absolutely nobody in my family that did music before I did. Absolutely nobody. You can like literally go back to at least three generations and there's not a single person even like remotely interested in music. And suddenly I just came up kind of like something that I always say that it was something that is God sent. Just, this is my mission in this world. This is my mission in this life because since I have memory, I've been singing. I've been doing something related to music. I started literally when I was, 4 years old, going to competitions like national competitions with my school, and then independently. From there, we moved on to more professional contexts. I would say definitely the discovery part was kind of whack. I went to a school for gifted kids because I was kind of like my family started noticing that I definitely had something. Today we are kind of trying to understand what it really was, but I was definitely in some part of the spectrum, and that made me a very curious kid. I was always just kind of like trying to master different things, but the one thing I always seemed to have like a genius for was music, specifically just like copying melodies or doing things that were very advanced for someone my age. So they decided to kind of like explore that. They put me in a school for gifted kids, and there they discovered that I definitely had a knack for like my ear was definitely more developed
Mhm.
than other things in like other senses. And yeah, so from there we start this journey. And the thing that kind of changes everything is around when I'm around like maybe 6 years old, 5 to 6 years old. I auditioned for reality, first reality for singers and for children in Colombia with one of the biggest national chains here that's called Caracol. I was very young. Nobody really knew what they were doing. My mom, especially, she was kind of just like kind of following me on this because she just wanted what I wanted. And I just told her, I really want to do this. And she was just like, hey, I'll do it with you. She's been 100% supportive from the get go. Like, first moment I showed that I had talent for this and that I wanted to pursue this for my life, she definitely just was there 100% for me. And I really appreciate it for that. And there we go to Bogota. We're from Cartagena, a small town. We go to the capital. Back in the day, traveling by plane and everything was still kind of like, okay, this is kind of weird. And we get there, we don't really have any contacts or friends or family there. And I just pass, like everything just goes well. Start from there, I start working with this TV channel. I work first, we're part of like it was like the choir, the children's choir for the channel, and we they would take us to different shows to kind of like sing different pieces and stuff like that for Christmas. This was like really important for our culture. And then from there we move on to working with like further into the channel. I start working with a kids program that is very very like renowned here in Colombia. It's called Club 10. Literally, pretty much every single kid from my generation grew up watching that. And I worked with them for quite a while as an actress, as a singer. I was also a reporter for them from the coast. Sometimes I would also be, a host for their shows. I traveled with them in their national tours as, the opening act. I worked with them for a very long time. But then we all decided that it was kind of necessary for me to maybe just go deeper into the knowledge of music, really, because this was a very like empirical, just kind of like doing out of like what we were learning on the go.
Mhm.
We all thought that that was a time for me to be more formal with my education. So I went back to just going to regular high school, but also just taking classes for piano, guitar, just musical theory, vocal theory, everything, you know? And from there, when I graduated, I actually ended up going to Berklee College of Music in Boston. I did that for a really long time as well. There, I was doing my major in contemporary writing and production, and I came back here to Colombia, and I did a production degree in La Universidad de los Andes, which is in Bogota. And
Mhm.
then from there, I just felt like okay, I feel like I'm ready to go back into into it. Just a couple years ago, I would say maybe like 4 years, we restarted this whole process with this project called Miladona, which is really cool. It's a really cool project. I feel like it's a fusion of all the things I've learned along the way, which has been a lot. And mainly what we focus on in my team is to kind of make this big fusion between pop and pop, Latin pop as we know it, but also Afro and specifically the Afro Caribbean culture. That is where I come from. So yeah, that's was a long story, but that's pretty much all of the background.
That sounds like you've done so much across all of entertainment, TV, music, dance. Like now you're creating content and you've had a bunch of viral videos. Can you talk more about your strategy with personal branding and the content that you're creating?
Yeah, well, as an artist, I would say this is not a linear process. Honestly, this is one of the most difficult things to master, mainly because if you're like me, there are other artists watching this, and if you're like me and you're a person that really loves art in general, you're gonna struggle a lot with finding that one thing that's gonna connect you to your niche and to the people who definitely connect with you deeply. Some of us maybe are trying to go for something a little more generic. Some of us maybe are going for something more specific, but the real struggle is trying to find that one thing. And honestly, it's a lot of trial and error. I'm not gonna lie to you. We spent a lot of time doing the wrong things just so we would be able to finally get to the things that wait. Like this is okay, we're getting there. This is like the sweet spot. And it's a process because it's not gonna come to you like this. It's not gonna happen like that. You're gonna start noticing patterns sometimes. Like, okay, you're gonna do 10 things, 12 things, 20 things, and then out of those maybe one of them starts getting a little more attention than the other one. And that's where you start just kind of like guiding everything through it. And one of the biggest things I would say that works for the process of finding your concept, finding your rhythm, finding your thing, your niche is definitely authenticity is one of the biggest things because either you marry to the idea that you would have to always constantly be on another character that has nothing to do with you, or you just manage to find a way to channel that thing that is like original from you, that it's very authentic from you, and be able to just kind of show it to the world in a way that they can consume it and then they can just take it in and understand it and relate to it. So it's a big struggle. Our strategy has been mainly, as I said, reverse engineering, basically, just, not this way, not this way. And a lot of also understanding that sometimes you might want to work with someone and you're dying to work with this person because they are so cool and they have all these concepts and maybe they have all these contacts and all this stuff. But if it doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. And the fastest you do that process and like understand that you need to go the other way,
Mhm.
like the most efficient your process of finding your rhythm is gonna be.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, what you're doing is running a business. I know you come from a family of entrepreneurs with a variety of businesses. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how that has helped you?
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's been one of the most helpful things for my career. For a while, I felt like I was just doing a bunch of different things, and I feel like a lot of people were just wondering, like, okay, she's just doing a bunch of random stuff. Because my background is very different. Honestly, my parents
Mhm.
are both doctors. My mom's a rehabilitator. She does veneers, implants. She went to NYU, but she also has worked in politics. She's actually currently working with the basically the department of I'd say Hacienda in Bolivar, back in the department in Cartagena.
Mhm.
And she has done a lot of stuff, but she's also been mostly an entrepreneur because she hasn't really, my mom never really liked having a job. She hated that. And she was very young. She was like, I'm going to be my own boss. So that's kind of like what she instilled in every one of us, me and my sisters. My dad's a plastic surgeon and he's a genius at that. He's also never really been like employed per se because he was employed for a little bit, but they also just kind of like figure out that this is not gonna cut it for the type of life we want. And also because of that, I've had to dabble a lot in the industry of hospitality and tourism. I actually ended up having my own hotel back in the day, having to run it, having to, basically just learn the ropes. And because of that, I have, as I said before, I have dabbled in the very different industries. In the medical industry, I've been in the hotel and tourism industry. I've been in politics as well. I actually worked with the Senate for a while. I worked with a political party here, with the Netherlands Institute for Democracy. And all this stuff, when I didn't know what this knowledge was for, I thought it was just kind of like all random stuff, like kind of
Mhm.
loose. But one of the things also that I want to tell artists in general and creatives in general is that if you really want to make a career out of your art, you really need to know about everything. And every little thing is going to make the difference. Everything that you know about management will definitely help you
Mhm.
manage your own career.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing when you have to hire a bunch of people to do the stuff and never know what they're doing, and hiring people but being fairly knowledgeable of what they are supposed to be doing and if they're doing the work right. The thing is, in this industry personally, it has been such a struggle because people just kind of prey on the fact that we are trying to make a business out of our dreams, out of something that is like very deep for us, very emotional. They
Yeah.
prey on that, and they prey on that and your ignorance of how things work. And there's a lot of scamming in this industry. There's a lot of people that get scammed in this industry. I have gotten scammed like a million times. I've burned a lot of money in the process. I don't like saying burning. I say just expensive learning experiences. Um, it is what it is,
Mhm.
but definitely all this knowledge of like different industries has put me in a place in which I know a little bit about everything. I know a little bit about music business, a bit about law,
Mm.
about, yeah, like everything about management, about everything just kind of also helps me organize my team because you need to be a leader, that you need to step up. Maybe you don't have to do everything, but your team definitely will be more married to your project. They will definitely be more into it, and they will definitely be right beside you on the front line if they feel like you're a leader instead of just like a boss. So yeah, it has been very helpful for me at least.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, just from growing up in LA, I've seen every part of the entertainment industry and worked in it, and I've heard your stories about the struggles that you've been through. I guess what are some of the most challenging things that you have overcome to get to this point in your career?
I think I'm gonna say something that I might. A lot of people are not gonna agree with this because everyone says this industry is hard for everyone,
Mm.
but I feel like this industry is particularly hard for women,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell you why. Honestly, have men have a standpoint in which they kind of just don't have to face a bunch of extra stuff that we do have to face when we're trying to do, our our process of scaling, of
Mhm.
doing, getting to know people, getting contacts in the industry, trying to find who and where are we gonna use our the things that we have as leverage. In that process, mostly men have a very straightforward process. Like they can get scammed, they can get robbed, they can get all these negative things from other people in the industry. But we also have the added challenge of being extremely objectified and sexualized in this industry. And we can't really say much about it. We can't really go against it. As a matter of fact, most of what we have to do to scale in this industry is kind of just sliding into it and just using it to our favor. And it kind of sucks sometimes because you kind of gotta just develop a thick skin around the idea of like being, sexually harassed or objectified, or finding someone who you really want to work with, but also just kind of being scared of, there's a very fine line there, like trying to stay professional, but also knowing that it's something that could happen and you need to know how to dissuade all the situations. And also mostly our image has a lot to play there. I feel like there's been a lot of breakthroughs with the movements of body positive, like with
Mhm.
the body positive movements and everything, on like, okay, female singers don't have to be, extremely skinny or fit this criteria physically, aesthetically anymore. But still, even if that's a thing, you will still find people who when they're working with you, they're gonna have to say out they're gonna have a lot to say about how you look and how you should look. And that is also something that I feel like it's psychologically is very detrimental for you because you have to have a very healthy relationship with yourself and your body weight and your habits to not to understand when they're being objective and when they're just being mean and
Mhm.
trying to kind of like come at you and also not becoming your own enemy, which is it's something that I feel like most girls in this industry, most women in this industry kind of have to face all the time.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one of the biggest challenges, definitely being a woman in this industry. The fact that you're dealing with a lot of men in this industry, and even if they don't really want to do something sexual to you, there's
Mhm.
also the part in which they think that you're gonna be an easy prey for business, and they're gonna try to kind of f you over all the time, and they most of the time they don't expect you to retaliate. So you also kind of have to be in a it's a blend, I would say. I try to save my feminine energy a lot, and that's why I kind of have my processes when it comes to this, but you also have to be very masculine in a lot of instances, and it's not pleasant, it's definitely not pleasant, but you learn how to navigate, definitely.
Completely. I mean, I understand in what you described, like, I completely see that in your experience, but also, like, every experience is kinda harder every industry is harder for women.
Yeah,
Every what you just said also just sounds like me being in the military, like, it's just harder for women, and we have to deal with so much and then find that balance within ourselves of when to turn on the masculine side and when not to, but you have to be assertive, you have to stand up for yourself and protect
100%.
yourself because people will try anything and, it kinda sucks that way. Just switching gears, I know that you're from Cartagena originally, but you've been living in Medellin for a while. Medellin
Mhm.
has such using music community and scene, like, what has your experience been like there?
Medellin has completely changed my life, honestly. I was living in Bogota before.
Mhm.
No hate to people who live in Bogota or the city, it's just not for me, and I feel like it rejected me all the time, and I just kept insisting like, "No, I can't," and that's mainly because working in the music industry, it's kind of hard to live in other places where you don't really have those connections. Bogota and Medellin are cities that are definitely the most ideal if you want to really work in this and make a living out of it and make a career out of it. So obviously I kind of was rejecting the idea that Bogota was not the place for me at the moment. And I actually had to come here only for like 3 months. I was supposed to come to this workshop with my vocal coach. She's called Mirabai. She's actually Karol G's vocal coach. She's really good. She's a genius, very an amazing woman, an amazing coach, amazing person. And I was supposed to be here only 3 months, and it was it. And then suddenly I'm here 4 years in, no idea how it really happened, but it just happened. And it's just that when I came here, I definitely found this thing that was missing. The energy itself of the city just kind of like healed me a lot. And I kind of found my way back to myself because everyone I feel like everyone goes through their struggles in life. And I definitely felt like before I established myself here, I was a little bit lost about who I really was, and I have forgotten who I really was in a lot of ways. And coming here changed everything for me. My experience with Mirabai as well, it was just life changing. It was just one of those make or break moments. I went through some very difficult things that just forced me into like finally confronting all the things that I had just trying to be like overlooking and just ignoring and trying to avoid. And yeah, obviously it has had its up and downs, but Medellin is an amazing place. Honestly, I've met amazing people here, people who I have connected deeply with. Yeah, and industry wise, it's just been so helpful because I don't think I've ever made this much progress. And it's
Mhm.
just a hub for creative things because, like, you find a good balance here of people who are doing art for the art and people who are doing music for the business. So having those two things combined in one city has been, I think it's been one of the game changers of the industry, not only for Colombia, but for the world. Because right now, if you see who's leading the charts, like you got a bunch of Colombians up there just, owning the place.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's amazing, like, Medellin just has that magical quality to it. There's the health and wellness scene, the
Mm-hmm.
It's just gorgeous and beautiful. Like everyone I know who goes there ends up staying way longer than they had originally planned. But yeah, just seeing J Balvin, Karol G, Maluma, like all these people come out of there, there's definitely
Yeah.
something about it as an incubator for this creativity. And there's just so many arts and cultural events.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Mhm.
Like Medellin has something for everyone too, like one of the good things about gentrification is that it has definitely opened up a lot more variety, like a whole spectrum of things for people in general that you will not see anywhere else in Colombia. So I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Mhm. And so I know you're constantly writing and making new music, recording new
Mm.
music. What's next for you in terms of releases?
Oh, we have a release actually coming up really soon, probably like next week. So, yeah, October 23rd, if I'm not wrong, or 22nd, we have a very important release. We've been working on our music a lot. We actually have a lot of unreleased music. I'm really excited to put it all out there because we're starting just, it's a whole picture, and you just kind of like start looking at something really close and then you just like start like pulling back. And when you see the whole thing, it's like, wow. And that's how I feel about my music right now. I'm just starting to slowly release like pieces and pieces and pieces of the puzzle and waiting for all this to actually come, become the thing that we've been working on for so many years now. Very excited about everything that's coming up. But yeah, the first one on this string of really good things is going to be on October 22nd. We
Mhm.
have a collaboration, a featuring with an artist that we're very excited about. I wish I want to say more about it, but honestly, I just want to kind of surprise people with it. I don't think anyone's really expecting it. So,
Mhm.
but it's more in the Afro concept that we're developing, but we're adding something very powerful behind my project. That is, I really want to go back to that. It's a very specific part of the nostalgia of the pop
Mhm.
nostalgia that caters a lot to women, honestly. So I feel like I'm speaking to women from my generation in general. I know that a lot of people are gonna connect with it because you feel it. You feel it. Not only in the lyrics, but also just like the vibe in general. So yeah,
Mhm.
very excited for that.
That's awesome. I'm excited too. Do you have then any other festivals or shows or performances coming up?
Yeah, we do have a show in November, 18 in Envigado. It's a place called Melodía para Dos, and it's a very pop kind of like night, really. It's not that reggaeton or like Afro. It's not that kind of vibe. It's a little more like a romantic vibe.
Mhm.
So we're very excited. We're gonna be there with three other artists, and yeah, it's gonna be a very romantic night for anyone who wants to come out. Melodía para Dos, Noviembre 18. You're more than welcome to come out and just enjoy a very romantic evening with us.
That's awesome. Super exciting. Well, thank you so much for coming here. I know we've been trying to schedule it. We're both super busy, but
Yeah,
I
I know.
out your music. I need to go to one of your shows hopefully when I'm back in Medellin. But thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I mean, as you said, we were trying to schedule this for a long time, and I'm really glad that we finally got it done.
Definitely. And for everyone else, thank you so much for watching the Breakthrough Blueprint and tune in for our next episode.